giving you an opportunity to get the full story from the people who tell it best. This is MediaCom Newsleaders.
Hello, I'm David Gillette, and this is MediaCom Newsleaders. Joining us in the studio this hour is Nicole Rom, the Executive Director from the Will Steger Foundation. Nicole, thanks for joining us.
Sure, thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Now, Will Steger, a very common, popular figure, but people might not know too much about the foundation he's started since his exploration days. Can you give us background on the Will Steger Foundation?
Absolutely. So the Will Steger Foundation was established in January of 2006. Will Steger, as you know, has been traveling the Arctic regions for over 45 years and has become an eyewitness to the ongoing changes of climate change in the polar regions where we're seeing the impacts first. And through that experience, he's become an eyewitness. Every ice shelf he's crossed has collapsed in the ocean as a result of climate change. And he felt it was really important to translate this experience into an organization that was focused on inspiring, educating, and empowering people to engage in climate change solutions. So the foundation, we work on K-12 education. We support educators with curriculum on climate change, really trying to bring this topic into the mainstream classroom, making sure it's nonpartisan, and it's based in science and interdisciplinary. We also support teachers with annual Teacher Institutes, and we've brought great people like Dr. James Hansen of NASA and Andrew Revkin of the New York Times and Bill McKibben, a famous author and founder of a educational global movement to reduce our carbon emissions to 350. So we support teachers. We also support youth ages 15 to roughly 28 in climate leadership on their high school campuses, in their college campuses, and in their communities. And of course, we also work at the policy level. We work directly with decision makers. Part of our goal is to really pass strong, comprehensive climate and clean energy policies in Minnesota, in the Midwest, nationally, and of course fostering that international cooperation internationally. And we were instrumental in working with Governor Pawlenty back in 2006 and 2007 to pass the Renewable Electricity Standard, which put Minnesota as a national leader in statewide climate solutions, and have since really focused our work on the Midwest region because the Midwest has a disproportionate role in the problem of global warming, but also a disproportionate opportunity in terms of driving this clean energy economy in terms of biofuels, wind, renewable energy, and citizen engagement.
Why don't you tell me a little bit more about that disproportionate role that the Midwest plays? How do you define that? What does that mean, disproportionate role?
There was a study that the Union of Concerned Scientists did in 2005 that if you included the Midwest states and Indiana and Ohio, we would be, if we were a country, we'd be the fourth largest greenhouse gas emitter because of our coal-based electric supply. So we are a huge greenhouse gas emitter just as a region alone, higher than the U.S. nationally in terms of our greenhouse gas emissions. But at the same time, Minnesota holds tremendous resources, not just the Midwest, but Minnesota, in terms of biofuels, solar, wind, and community engagement, which is really exciting.
Let me ask you, when running a group like you do that has such a prominent celebrity presence attached, I mean, Will Steger's name is on the institution, he's known all over. What are the advantages of that? How do you leverage Will's celebrity to get that message out?
That's a great question. A core piece of our programming is also running expeditions. So we've organized 3 expeditions since 2006, really bringing the world's attention to what's happening in the Arctic regions. Will has tremendous access to decision makers, influential people, and to media, and we use that to really build grassroots and broad-based public support for this issue.
Let me ask you one more question.
Sure.
Success on an issue like this, it's a huge topic, spanning the entire globe. How do you look at success for your organization? How do you look at a day and say, we were successful today, we were not? What are the ways you measure what you do?
There are a number of ways we measure success. For sure, it's the ultimate goal is, of course, legislative victories, policies that are passed, behavior change of individuals and organizations. But small successes can be anything from a teacher that contacts us and says, I had a huge success today where my students really understood it. They wrote letters to their congresspeople, or they initiated a recycling campaign, or raised funds for a wind turbine on their campus. Those are all successes. It really depends based on our programming, but it can be anything as small as changes in personal lifestyle and institutional changes at a school or a campus or at a church, to institutional and legislative changes. So for us, success can be measured in all of those ways of the people we're interacting, as well as media attention on the issue, positive media attention.
Thank you, Nicole. I got to cut you off. We're
Sure.
up against the clock. Our news leader this hour has been Nicole Rom of the Will Steger Foundation. Join us again next time right here on MediaCom Newsleaders. Thanks for watching.